Here in this video, we will uncover all of your Tesla breaking news on the day today. We're also going to discuss the broader markets, the CPI report, and what some of your analysts are saying about it. There's actually split opinions. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with this news, which might be the most important on the day today. This is always exciting news. Tesla has now entered into a new market. This is Qatar. They're now selling all of their Tesla models, and configuration is now live for people to place orders. And after all, that's what this video seems to have alluded to, was an entry into the Middle East. We showed this video in about 2 days ago here on this channel. I guess I shouldn't say the Middle East, but Qatar, because they're already in the Middle East in certain places, but definitely entering a new market is exciting. Probably the biggest news that is affecting Tesla's stock today is weekly vehicle insurance registration numbers out of China. And from December 4th through December 10th, you had 15,400 vehicle registrations. This is down 2,000 from last week, but this is up from less than 13,000 in this same week last year. So I would say this is positive, but maybe a little bit lower than what some people were hoping for. In total, Tesla seems to have delivered about 557,000 Teslas in China so far this year, up sharply from 440,000 that were delivered throughout the entire year of 2022, and we still have 3 weeks left to go. China might actually beat the US in total delivery numbers for Q4, something to watch closely, as well as the FSD potential entry into China, which could happen as soon as tomorrow, like literally in December this month. At least that is what the rumors are as of right now. Tesla Chan also reports that China registered about 2,900 Model 3 Highlands, but other sources claim this could have actually been more than 3,000. So the ramp is definitely continuing, but still dominated by the Model Y in Shanghai. This is actually pretty encouraging as well. Tesla took to their main X account to write this post about another post from the Washington Post that is very misleading on Tesla's safety. As you know, Tesla is the safest vehicle out on the roads today. It's the safest vehicle that you can buy, partly because of the gigacasting process. Instead of a normal vehicle being pieced together with hundreds or thousands of parts, Tesla's, for the most part, just kind of one solid piece. It does make the vehicle safer, and then obviously you don't have an engine in the front that can crush you if you get into a head-on accident. Now, Tesla really pushes back at this article from the Washington Post. We're not going to go over this whole post from Tesla because it's very long, but Tesla does go on to say that this particular lawsuit that the Washington Post does cite, well, they failed to leave out the most important parts. That the driver, which was unfortunately killed, went right through a red light. That's not Tesla's fault. Tesla says autopilot is 10 times safer than US average drivers and 5 times safer than a Tesla with no AP tech enabled, autopilot tech enabled. More detailed information will be publicly available in the near future, but they really push back on this FUD, and I think this is probably long overdue, but nonetheless good that we're finally seeing it. Sawyer Merritt says, love to see you fighting FUD. Tesla Economics says, keep fighting FUD, Tesla. James Cat says, love to see the direct response to this FUD. Bravo. Buried in the Tesla FUD cemetery. You get the idea. This is great, as Tesla should be doing and should have done a long time ago. Hopefully we start to see more of this pushback. The Tesla Model Y is on course to be the best-selling car in Europe by year's end, leading year-to-date October sales. This would be the first time a non-Europe model tops the ranking. Quote, the Model Y is the gold standard for those looking to buy an EV. It is an SUV, has competitive features, and its price continues to fall. Tesla's Europe and Middle East X account says that the Model Y just broke the record for the most cars sold in a single year in Denmark, held since 2013. Now they write, that was on October 25th, they said that. Now they say, now the best-selling car in a single year ever, beating the previous record set in 1986. As we previously discussed, there was 15,400 vehicle registrations in China last week. But if you actually take a look at what we're seeing in the outbound lot at Giga Shanghai, this is probably the most Teslas you've ever seen here at a single time. I mean, there's only a couple spots you can actually fit more vehicles. It's almost at max capacity. It's probably like 98% filled right now. So that could mean next week or the last 2 weeks in December could be on the high end. You could break 20,000 for the first time ever towards the end of this year, especially as a lot of people opt to buy the vehicle before the end of the year so they can also get the $7,500 EV tax credit. That's a bigger deal, obviously, in the US. That's not the case for China. They have their own incentives, but still, a lot of those incentives do start to kind of roll off in 2024, at least how they are written now. So the last 3 weeks here of 2023, you could expect to see some pretty good numbers out of Tesla. Tesla plans to build a massive 120,000 square foot service center in Vancouver. This will be the biggest Tesla sales, delivery, and service center in North America. Porsche says its upcoming Macan EV will have an optional heads-up display with augmented reality. This comes out in 2024, expecting up to 603 horsepower, 800 volt architecture, 270 kilowatt hour charging, and 300 miles of range. Ford says it is cutting F-150 Lightning production by 50% in 2024. The company cited changing market demands as the reason. Ford told suppliers to prepare for average volumes of around 1,600 Lightnings a week starting in January. It assembles an average of 3,200 a week today. So if you work for Ford, if you work in the EV division, well, job security is looking uncertain. This would mean Ford only plans to actually produce around 84,000 F-150 Lightnings in 2024. If Tesla can come through with 100,000 deliveries, as a lot of people are expecting in 2024, well, the Cybertruck could outsell the Ford F-150 Lightning, and that would be a total flip-flop. Lucid says its CFO has resigned effective immediately. Elon Musk has reportedly accepted Italian President Giorgia Meloni's invitation for an event in Rome this weekend. This was shared by Sawyer Merritt, and Elon Musk confirms this and says yes. Tesla sales in the US are estimated at 51,000 for November, with a market share of 4.1%. Year to date, this is up 32% over the same period last year, which would be November of 2022. Year to date, you're already at 114% of last year's total. And again, you do have the whole month of December left to go, and that tends to be the strongest or one of the strongest months in any given year for Tesla deliveries. In Italy, Tesla made Q4 today the second best quarter in terms of sales. It looks like Italy's Q4 is going to be off the charts if the third month does even remotely well. The second month, October, just killed it over in Italy. Singapore reported 28 Tesla sales and 1.1% market share for November, 100% of which are the Model Y. Year to date, this is down 7%, but year to date, you're at 83% of last year's total. So basically flat year over year. I'm sure when all things are considered once we get to the end of the year. The big event today was CPI. There's a lot of mixed interpretations of whether or not this was good or bad, progress or setback. I'll tell you just the numbers themselves came in basically in line with the estimates across the board. Core inflation month over month, which was the important one, I wanted to see this come out at 0.2. Obviously 0.1%, the lower the better, but you actually came in at 0.3%. That was the estimate. That is an increase from last month's number of 0.2%. Core year over year came in at 4%. That was the same as last month. That was in line with the estimates. Inflation rate month over month for November came in at 0.1%. The same as the estimate. Last month you were at 0%, but 0.1% is sweet. We'll take that any day of the week. Inflation headline year over year came in at 3.1%, the same as the estimate. Ross Gerber, I know his opinion is futile since he changes it all the time. He says inflation is dead. John Riding, chief economic advisor to Breen Capital, said, quote, the Fed needs to begin laying out a roadmap to rate cuts that may represent tighter policy since cuts will be lagging the decline in inflation and real rates will be rising. Michael England of Action Economics writes in, the U.S. headline year-over-year inflation metrics will fall sharply into early 2024 thanks to weakness in energy prices and easier comparisons, leaving the Fed with significant elbow room to start loosening even if core year-over-year inflation remains firm. Apparently, the chances of a soft landing are also rising. According to the CNBC survey, which surveyed 35 different economists and analysts, the respondents boosted the probability of a soft landing to 47%, up 5 points from the October survey. They lowered the probability of a recession in the next year by 8 points to 41%, the lowest since the spring of 2022. This is a very interesting take. Quote, for the FOMC in 2024, 3.5% inflation is acceptable. A recession is not, says Stephen Blitz, chief U.S. economist at T.S. Lombard. With 61% of adults owning equities, the highest since 2008, the Fed is not going to sacrifice faith in equities on the altar of 2% inflation. Fed officials have insisted they will continue to pursue 2% as their inflation target. Respondents to the CNBC Fed survey see the S&P rising above 5,000 for the first time on average, but not until the end of 2025. They forecast only a modest gain through 2024 of less than 2% from the current level of 4,696, but much depends on the economic growth. 47% see stocks as overpriced if there's a soft landing, compared with 91% who say stocks are overpriced if there's a recession. Here on the day today, the Dow is up about 0.3%, the S&P up 0.1%, the NASDAQ up about 0.2%. The Russell is down 0.37%, and the VIX is getting smashed today, down 5%. So if you're looking at the VIX itself, there is a lot of hedges that are being taken off of the S&P 500. Take that for what you will. Maybe that means we rally from here. Maybe that means we have a greater chance of falling. I would say this is probably a better sign rather than not. Your Russell, though, that's where a little bit of the concern is, because this CPI report is definitely hurting your most interest rate sensitive names, which Tesla falls in that category. And that is one reason that Tesla stock is down about 1.9% today. Tesla stock is holding support at that 50-day moving average. That's a great sign, but we really want to retrace to the upside by the end of the day today, if not by tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an epic day, though, with the Fed, so that's really what is going to dictate the next move. But if you fall under the 50-day moving average from here, you're likely falling back to the 200-day moving average at about $225 per share. TLT is down 0.36% today, indicating 20 and 30-year treasuries pretty much flat on the day, but yields going up a little bit. Nothing to be concerned about, but yields still going up a little bit. USO down 4.33% today. Oil is getting smacked around, literally smacked in the face today. The dollar, which is very sensitive to what the Fed does, if we're expecting higher for longer for interest rates, if we're expecting more hikes or less cuts, the dollar would rise. The dollar is actually falling 0.16% today, so that's another good sign for our markets. And the interpretation of the CPI report, I would say it's a mixed bag across the board, but more data points than not, more asset classes than not, are signaling that the CPI today was net positive for our markets. Gold is down 0.15% today, exactly what I have been waiting for. You want to see gold continue to fall from here. Tesla's option activity on the day today is pretty good as well, considering the stock is down about 2%. You're at 59% of a positive order value. You've seen 508 hedge fund and institutional trades worth $188 million. By the video coming out later on tonight, there's going to be a clearer picture of what the entirety of today was like for options trading in Tesla stock, but so far, so good. The short position in Tesla stock is totaling $21.4 billion, with 3.28% of the float currently being sold short. If tomorrow goes as expected and the Fed does confirm more rate cuts in 2024 than they previously thought in September, just 3 months ago, well, you're gonna see the floodgates open and capital will flood into parts of our markets that have been very deprived of capital. Your small mid-cap stocks like Tesla could really start to outperform coming tomorrow, or to the contrary, everything could come crashing down and burning. I think those are really the two alternative situations or outcomes coming tomorrow. Global inventory numbers for the Tesla lineup indicate the Model Y is going higher a little bit more inventory today than yesterday. I think just production is cranked up a lot, and there are some lagged effects when it comes down to tracking inventory. But your Model 3, your Model S, and your Model X are all falling, continuing to fall at some of the lowest levels they have been at in the last 12 months. That would probably indicate some pretty strong demand. Google Trends activity for the Tesla lineup, most notably the Model 3 and the Model Y, are uptrending, and your Cybertruck is back at 100 for search trend activity, although some of the preliminary data we're getting for December 3rd through December 9th indicating the Cybertruck search trends might be now to about 81, which is expected. You're going to spike, stay up there for a while. You're ultimately going to come back down and start trading in a range like the Model 3 and the Model Y are, but you might be starting to see a little bit of the halo effect actually starting for the Model 3 and the Model Y, at least based on Google Trends data. Percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average today is down about 2% to 72.4%, which is still in line with what we've seen during the peaks of the rally in the summertime. This is, I would say, not good or bad. Really, to see this fall a little bit at this point wouldn't be too terrible. My opinion is we're probably going to trend higher here. Back to the charts. Again, it looks like Tesla stock is holding support at the 50-day moving average. If we do not, we could fall pretty quickly to the 200-day moving average at around $225 per share. If tomorrow is good, then we could break above the 100-day moving average and easily make our way to the high 240s. Getting to 250 might be a little bit more difficult. Let's see what the actual percentage change on that would be to get to 250 coming tomorrow. That would be a gain of about 6%. Very possible. Gain of about 10% tomorrow, theoretically, if the Fed was very bullish, very dovish. That could send you to about $259 per share. I think a more comfortable bet is saying Tesla stock could rally 4 to 6% tomorrow. 6% would put Tesla stock around 250. 4% would put Tesla stock around 245. So take that for what you will. It's not a guarantee that we are going to rally tomorrow, but I do think when the Fed confirms they're planning on cutting rates 3, 4, 5 times next year, that's going to be seen as good news. It's one thing for the markets to price in rate cuts. It's another thing entirely for the Fed to also say they're going to cut rates multiple times over the next 12 months. That is going to go ahead and conclude this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you made it to the end. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below in the comment section. If you want to take it a step further than all of that, and hopefully you have done that by now, well, come join the trading community. Link down below in the description of this video. We do currently have some trades on for tomorrow, looking at Tesla pretty closely here. I think Tesla could be a big opportunity heading into tomorrow. Might make a trade on that as well. So if you guys want to be a part of it, link down below in the description of this video. Come ask questions, come learn, come grow, come trade. No matter what your skill level is, we will welcome you with open arms. Whether you have never traded an option in your life, whether you have been trading them for 10 or 20 years, it's a great place to be, no matter what. Thank you for watching. My name is Michael Tyler. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you at 8 p.m. But until then, take care.